I had a nightmare that we had elected Glenn Beck as president, and he made us stop carrying bills and only carry gold coins. I had a nightmare that he had Sarah Palin as his vice president, and she said lock them, and load them, and we had to start a new line of holsters and vests, to carry our new guns. I had a nightmare that the government was not in charge of anything. All drugs were legal and no one had the right to make choices about their bodies. I had a nightmare that Jan Brewer was in charge of immigration and they started sending everybody back to where they came from. I had a nightmare that all people on public aid was now located in unused prisons, and taking classes on hygiene. I had a nightmare that the Republican Tea Party candidates had won all of the seats, and repealed health care reform, Wall Street reform, and credit card reform. I had a nightmare that they made sure that Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and Dream never came to the table again. I had a nightmare that they had privatized Social Security, Veterans Administration, Post Office and the school board. I had a nightmare that all Democrats had memory lapses, and had forgotten how in the 80s President Reagan had taken us to this same place. We had to go back to school and learn new trades. I did not see anyone carrying signs and calling President Reagan any of the names that I have heard President Obama called. I never saw any president disrespected in my life. I had a nightmare that the Democrats were so angry with our president assuring that most of our banking systems stayed in business. I had a nightmare that the Democrats really started listening to the many conspiracy theories about the president. I had a nightmare that the Democrats wanted to blame President Obama for us not having jobs, housing problems and credit card debt. In my nightmare I saw so many people with smartphones of every kind and designer originals, but they did not want to take responsibility for any of what is going on. I had a nightmare that some of Black America wanted Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. in the White House. I too am suffering, but I know that we'll continue to stand by President Obama. I may not be Superwoman, but I have enough vision to see what I will receive if I let my nightmare come true and let the Republicans take over. The Republicans think that you are lazy and do not want to work, and if you feel the recession is not over, choose the Republicans. I awoke from my nightmare, and it was November 3, 2010, and all of the Democrats came to their senses and voted out the Republicans. Written by the Black Long Islanders Tea Party on Facebook, is a group dedicated to respecting President Obama.